Welcome to the InStory Show live conversations. We are on day 6, and we are glad that you are all here. So settle down and get ready to enjoy, and we will dive in. All right, so what we're doing is having some part of the InStory Show be live conversations and a little more spontaneous. And this week, all of the women who are speaking are part of my programs in the past or currently, either my 8-week course, the Soul Story course they've been in, or they're been in now my year program, or we're in it. It's all part of what I call InStory. And InStory is the overall name for all of the deep work that I lead and have created in my company, my business, and storytelling, coaching, and all of it that we love so much. So there's the soul story work and the in-story work, but it's all about going in to your story and to bring that out in the world so you can be seen for who you really are. All right, so I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to call on everybody, and I want each of you to share just who you are, where you live, what you do, and your relationship with InStory. So Paula's in my leadership group. So start us off.
Hello, everyone, and kia ora, and thank you, Devorah, for the introduction. It's wonderful to meet you all here, wherever you stand in the world. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Paula Marie Brown, and I live in New Zealand, Aotearoa, which is land of the long white cloud, and I live just north of the city, in Porirua. And I currently am a full-time carer for my elderly mum. I've stepped out of corporate work to do that, to support her. And I have been with InStory blessed to be with InStory for a fabulous 3 years now, 3 wonderful years. And the one thing that I do really love about InStory is the ladies and the work that Devorah leads us through. It is like a weekly ritual for me in my life, and it fills my soul, nourishes my soul. Thank
Yeah,
you.
beautiful. Thank you, Paula. I don't know what we would do without you. All right, Jennifer Grossman. We have 2 Jennifers, of course. They land together, right?
Well, it's absolutely a pleasure to be here today. So excited. My name is Jennifer Grossman, and I live in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I am a senior learning consultant working for a large multinational company. So I continue with the corporate world profession. I've been in Story for about 6 months, and before that, I took Soul Story. And a year ago, I got exposed to the Story show. So it's been a really nice year-long progression, and I have to, agree with Paula. It's just been a huge shift in my life, such an incredible change, and as I said, excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been a delight particularly, and you'll see all of their interviews on the main speaker page. They're longer interviews. All 3 of them are featured speakers in this show. And it's very interesting because some people take their work and do something new with it. And Jennifer has brought her work into the corporate world where she works, which is a very exciting idea because they also really need this deep work, this visionary perceptions. Okay, Jennifer Kelley.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Kelley, and I live in the desert outside Las Vegas, Nevada, with my beautiful family. I'm a mother, a writer, a creator, and I'm building something called Rooted Field, which is really a soft space to return to yourself. And I found the InStory show last year in the fall. And I did this whole couple of weeks and then was really excited to join the Soul Story. And I did 2 rounds of it, and that helped me return to myself, to even find myself, to be able to even speak. And just 6 months, I am now sitting here with these amazing women and sharing something I'm very excited about, and just so honored and blessed to be here. So it's been a really beautiful experience, and it's happened through being able to create this space to devote to myself, which just radiates to everything I love around me. So.
Yes, it is a joy to behold your progress, my dear. So I was thinking about the themes of courage and creativity. And before we even dive into there's an intersection of them, I think, but I was thinking about I would like to ask the question of what was something really hard that you had to overcome either to join InStory or since you've been in it that now doesn't feel hard to you anymore? Like, because I think often we don't give ourselves very much credit, right? Because I'm always up to the next hard thing, right? Because I'm growing. And so then I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm like, this is hard for me. I have to have courage again. I'm struggling again. And then you forget to look at all the things you've done already. And so it's important that we notice how we have progressed. Like, what's something that was really hard that made you feel stuck, or like you were playing too small, or that you couldn't do it, or you weren't worth it, or it'll never work out, or libbity, libbity, libbity. Like, seriously, we have all of that. And so I think it's helpful to try to speak of it. Like, sometimes I say to people, what's in the way, right? So, Paula, maybe you can share something, you've been in InStory now a long time, but I think there's some things you could say that you could, before you were in InStory or back in the beginning, that were hard for you that now you know how to do.
Thank you, Devorah. Great question. So I'll share with you that when I joined InStory, I was in a big transition phase, and my mum had just become very unwell. I had actually been following Devorah for a year and been doing some work on intuition, and I saw Devorah's Soul Story course come up, and at that time I thought, actually, I do need something for myself. I need to look after myself as well, my own well-being with what had stepped into. And I didn't know how long that time was going to last. Um, so what was difficult for me was my old beliefs, my limiting thoughts that kept coming through, like, you don't deserve this, you're not worthy of joining such a group and being a part of, doing Devorah's work. So that was probably the biggest struggle for me at the time. The next biggest struggle for me was, how am I going to fit this in with time? I don't know what this is going to mean for the care with mum. Can I commit to actually doing this? But I am a committer, and once and I felt like I had this calling for my soul, and once I do commit to something, I do commit to it and work around it. And Devorah is so flexible with attendance. Like, if I needed to be absent for a care reason, then Devorah is the amazing angel that allows you to be yourself, and how your living situation is, bring your whole self to InStory. And yeah, so that was the two things that were the hardest for me at the time, everyone.
Yeah. And the other thing, Paula, that, each one of the women on with me today has taken this work into a different arena, and they're all super important. And we say a few words about being a caregiver and doing this work because, caregiving for an older person or an ill person it's like, I always call it a very right thing to do that has a very high cost. And I have been impressed, Paula, with what you have been doing, being an InStory and some of the other poetry programs here, how you have committed to filling yourself back up. And if you watch her video, you'll see what it's also turned into. But how has that? I just want you to give a word of encouragement or description of what it's like to have given up your job to be caretaker for your mom, and how the things you're doing are helping you with that.
The actual caregiving, giving up work, it took me honestly about 6 months to work through that transition. And at the time I also felt guilt for not working, but what it has done for me, it has given me a richness in my life that I didn't expect, because I get to spend this time with my mum, and I do get to care for her, and my love language actually happens to be quality time. So I infuse that with all of the learnings and love and the connection that I've had with my soul, the wonderful work that I've been doing, the heart-centered work that's come through with the poetry and writing, and just being with other like-minded, divine, feminine women in such times has made a huge impact on me and my life. And I feel like I have come home to my true nature in a way that I never expected to. And I feel enriched, and I feel happy in doing what I'm doing. And I've had this, which we'll get onto the creative flow. I've had a huge creative flow has come from me putting emphasis and time and the courage to, step forward and do the work and continue to do the work.
Right. And so you don't have that experience of like, I have lost myself. Like I have people come into so after really excruciating caregiving and like they lost themselves. So I feel like, Paula is a very strong model of how you can do your soul work even while you have a big caregiving responsibility. And it is hard to give ourselves that sometimes, right? Like you said, like, am I so much that question, am I worthy of joining InStory? It's like it's just such a weird thing that we have such a hard time giving ourselves the thing that is most soul nourishing to us. So okay, so Jennifer Grossman, share a little bit about how you had kind of what was hard for you and what's easier now, and then maybe how that's affected your work life also.
Yeah, so thank you, Devorah. I appreciate that. Well, I'd say the idea of worthiness has really come up for me. And so before I joined InStory, I would participate on a lot of different webinars, and I'd hear about people's gifts coming out. And I had a lot of self-doubt. I'm like, well, I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing that. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that I have some gifts coming out, but I don't know what they are. And so I think a lot of us go through something like that. And so when I joined InStory, right, what I got through the repetition of the InStory guided process week after week after week, it did create that space. And I kept realizing, wow, I'm getting messages. I'm really like these messages made a lot of sense to me, and they built my courage, and I started really trusting myself, and I started to realize, you know what, my gifts may not look like other people's gifts, and that's perfectly okay. And it was a combination of that, just that recognition that yes, I am worthy. Like I don't need to look at how I compare to anybody else. I am worthy because I am. And all these messages of affirmations and confirmations and encouragement helped me find the courage to then start expressing who I was more in my professional work environment. I create training, and the direction of where I wanted to go is not your typical area of corporate training, but it had to do with yourself, about your communication, about your connection within and how you relate to people without. And through this process, I found my voice. And it's not only my voice at work, but also just my voice in whoever I'm connecting with. And that's a beautiful feeling. I don't have to hide who I am. I don't have to dim my light. I don't have to be anybody else. I can be me. And that allows me to be truly authentic and really have much deeper connections with people.
Right. You're touching on something so fundamental it seems so obvious that we should feel like that, but it's such a work to get it back. And then you become a model for the people you train and teach in the world.
Absolutely. At work, it's always about the external. You're especially when you're dealing with customers and the service aspect. And we forget that everything starts within.
Mm.
And when we go within and we bring our best selves to different situations, well, it makes a huge shift in the relationships that we would have with our customers. And I know that sounds very corporate oriented. You can take that and put it into a personal perspective and say it shifts the way we have personal relationships and connections with other people. So it doesn't matter what environment you're in or how you're applying it. It's the same principles, the same benefits, the same shift that you're experiencing.
Right, right. But unless somebody does the work to do what you did, nobody's doing, so it's really great, really wonderful. Okay, Jennifer, Kelley, what has this made you think about in terms of what was hard for you and what's easier now and where it's kind of going?
Well, I'm a newbie to this, so I am in real time working through the hard. This past interview, I had to write a whole thing about it because everything went really well. And then at 2 a.m., I'm kind of freaking out about it. And I woke,
After we did it, you mean?
yeah, 2 a.m. that night. I'm like, what have I done? People are going to see this. What have I done? My whole system freaked out. I woke up in the middle of the night in a panic about it. 3 nights in a row. And it required me to make these changes. And this whole process has been about noticing my old patterns. And you keep hearing, well, let it go, let it go. Here's an affirmation. And none of that means anything to me. I don't understand what that means. I've had to really figure that out for myself. And that is living through it, putting myself in these really uncomfortable situations and working through it. And that's 2 a.m. in the morning, trying to figure out why I'm about to throw up, why I have all this tension in my system, why I feel like, I'm so unsafe for speaking. And the soul story helps me identify and pinpoint some of those memories and how they just weave and flow all the way into your current time. And I get to rewrite these networks in my brain so that my body feels it moving forward. That is expansion to me at its like most is rewiring my own brain, reworking through these really difficult things so that I can now say to my body, we're safe to do this. I can talk now and I don't have to worry about punishment. We can do this now.
No,
And
that
it's
is
so scary.
It's so brilliant. I literally was just hearing a teacher talking about the whole concept of your set point, like your ceiling, like your upper limit for how much your system can take before it goes into fight or flight. And exactly what you're saying is that when you do it and nothing actually happens and you actually feel it, you actually begin to re-regulate your system. So the body doesn't do that.
Only if you notice it though.
Right.
And you don't like so highly sensitive people, we have this tendency to like ruminate on everything and loop it, and we just like get stuck in there. And some of the work that we do through InStory and the Soul Story course helps you identify that from a distance and start to make these new patterns and choices. Because without it, you do stay in that little loop and you don't get anywhere. You actually just cause more anxiety in your system. And
Right.
it's really transferred into how I approach. So my two big things were I'm still working through all these things in real time of how to do this and feel safe. And really, my being able to express it through writings and meditations is me in real time working through it and sharing it because my system is very sensitive and I require a different method. And I'm juggling motherhood and a very highly sensitive kiddo with limited language and ability to express. And as I go through these things and I see him, I watch him, observe him, these things are just as true for him and many kids like him. And so I get to learn how the process works for me and then share and invite him into that too. Because some of the things that work for me, like just watching shadow light, surprisingly, he does naturally. He's been doing naturally. I just, all I have to do is kind of watch him sometimes. And I'm like, oh, there's that slowing down. that noticing when your system is stressed. You don't need us to give you more breathing techniques or, play with this squishy ball or here's some lights. He just does it naturally because he's listening to himself still. And that's a beautiful lesson that I get to learn too as I watch him and I slow down and connect back into myself and take this time, which seems selfish and frivolous. And what is the point of this? I get to refine all those things that he's doing naturally. But we just have all these stories of how it should be, what we should be doing. I need to fix this, I need to do that. And this process is really just slowing me down and helping me find that again.
Right. Because otherwise we have so many old stories about why we shouldn't do this. Right. Like I'm selfish. And so it's very it pushes against what we think society wants of us. If we're going to spend our time and our money on something spiritual and creative and uplifting, like who the heck do we think we are? Like, so it takes a certain it takes a kind of a work to see past that messaging and to say, wait a minute, the thing I actually want, who I actually want to be, what's really valuable to me, what has weight is this deep work, is my creativity, my spirituality, my soul calling. Like this is what actually matters to me. And at that point, I think it becomes, then you realize, okay, I don't want to sit here all alone at home in my room with this. And that is also part, I think, of this experience is the interconnections that we have and how you don't feel like you're having to hold this visionary work up all by yourself. All right, we're going to go around one more time, but Dominique is here. She was in the Soul Story course. And Dominique, if you want to share an experience, feel free to just, do you want to share? So I saw you unmuted. That's usually a sure sign that someone wants to share.
Well,
Hi.
I just want to say,
Just say what was hard for you. You can answer the same question, like what was hard for you before you joined the Soul Story course, and what feels easier because of it, or something like that.
well, it was last year, and it was a difficult year for me, and so allowing me myself to do this was a real boost, in a way. This year, I'm feeling much better, and I love being back to kind of see these beautiful women and hear them. It makes me smile. It makes me feel good. So anyway, thank you so much for
Ah,
bringing me in.
yeah,
Bye.
so nice to see you. So happy that you're here, and it's part of what InStory and the Soul Story course is all about in our community. Is we really love that you are here and part of it. And Kay and Janet, who are both here right now, are in our leadership team and will be speaking on the live calls on some of the other days. So I'm not going to make them talk today because I'm going to already make them talk on a different day.
And another plus I should add is that I made some really good friends through the course. I'm still in touch with Marjorie. I can't think of her name right now. It starts with W, and then Janet, wonderful Janet, who, we are in touch. She lives also in New Mexico. So I'm delighted. This was a plus. And so.
It's true. And that's maybe what we'll talk about a little more. The truth is that this is a big difference that we can find each other. And it also goes through the saying that I say all the time, which is if something moves you, it will move your tribe. So this is like where I want to speak a little bit more into creativity and like feeling of your soul calling. And like this is where creativity and I think courage intersect. Like how have you been able to have more courage to follow your creative and spiritual soul calling? Like what are you doing now that you were not doing before? And I think being in a safe environment, like that whole thing that you were saying, Jennifer, about that feeling that our body doesn't feel safe, it starts to get rewired when you bring that vulnerable piece out in front of other people who go, Oh, I feel that too. Oh, that really moved me. I get that. Like you get this aligned response. So we'll keep going around the same way. We'll go to Paula and then Jennifer Grossman and then Jennifer Kelley. To just share a little bit about just this courage to actually bring your creativity. Like, what are you sharing, talking about, doing now that you were not doing before? So, Paula, lead us off.
Thank you, Devorah. So what I'm doing now that I wasn't doing when I started, and this happened quite quickly for me when I was in InStory, was that I'm writing soul spirited poetry. So I do call myself a soul spirited poet, and I have also now become, or probably for the last 18 months, over 18 months now, a co-host for a global women's poetry group, which is again focused on soul-spirited writing. So we write and recite or read another poet's work, and with InStory, I also have the creative opportunity to do what Devorah calls our show and tells. So they're like creating something and then bringing it to the ladies in the group to try out our creative endeavours. And that's an absolutely awesome opportunity to do that, is to get that feedback from the ladies as well, which is so helpful. And yeah, so I do have, this is also, InStory has also enabled me to have a vision, have a dream. So I do want to author a poetry book, and I have just had my first poem published in
Yeah.
a woman's magazine, literary magazine in the United States. So yeah, so it's just been something, and again in my life, something that I didn't expect that I could do, and am now doing it. And that has happened a number of times in my life. So that mix of courage and creativity actually just, what do they call it? We call it in New Zealand taking the bull by the horns and taking a step forward. Uh, but how that has changed for me with InStory is that I've actually listened and heard the calling of my soul, and that is now not the bulls that I take, but is now the soul. I listen to my soul and follow that. So yeah, doing some rich work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And and I think this feeling of being called by your soul, it once you start to feel it, it doesn't let go of you. And so if you just stay home by yourself, it starts to have a bad effect after a while. Like it gets pressure. So when you get in a group with, you can release and you can share and you get feedback, it's like, whoa, it's just right. It just, you feel so much better. So, and we who are the recipients of all these things are just blown away because, of course, we then receive each other's wisdom and creativity that we love. So, so Jennifer Grossman, how has that played out for you? Oh, you're still muted. You're muted.
There we go. Well, that's an interesting question. I want to share it from two different perspectives. So I'm first going to share from the corporate world that I'm in, and I'm going to share some fun stuff about me and the rest of what I creatively. So in my work, in my profession, I created this course called Human Connection and Being Your Best Self. And I never had the courage to do that before, but I really dove into the idea of how do you connect deeper with people to have to deep those relationships, and in the corporate world, obviously you go ahead and try and retain your customers, and that's become harder and harder to do because of a lot of things that are going on. So from that perspective, I wasn't as concerned about the customer service side. What I really wanted to do was connect with the associates that I work with. Like that, I couched it in customer service, but really what it was me sharing my heart with the associates that I was working with, letting them know that, it's okay to feel the different emotions that we feel, and to walking them through different tools to help be their best self. I mean, think about this, the corporate world doing things like that is not the norm yet. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit, but it's really kind of out there. And I'm willing to go out there.
Yeah.
Like that's the coolest thing, is that how do you go out there but couch it in a way for your audience, your people that are going to be working with, that they can receive and understand? Because you're dealing with people of, from very different perspectives. Like some have no awareness at all, and some very aware, and you have to serve all of them, every single one of them. So, it's not, I'm not stopping there. I'm now inspired to continue with what I'm doing, and continue the connection relationships, and bring that into the area of how to communicate with each other in a way where we can truly listen and understand from the other person's perspective. Like that is what allows us, when we have a lot of division, a lot of different perspectives, like that's how we can connect. And it's not about compromising, it's about collaborating and learning how to do it creatively in that way. I mean, it's a brand new well, it's not a brand new field, but it's a brand new way of being, especially in corporate America.
Yeah.
So that's more on the professional side. But I gotta just say this, because with InStory, you exposed me to part work, and I had never been exposed to that before. And I've had so much fun. And because of the work that we had been doing, to frame, myself up, bringing that awareness and releasing a lot of things that had been stuck. Wow, that has just allowed creativity to pour to me. And now I find, I do things like when I go for walks in the evening, I'm walking the dog and I look up and I see the stars and I see the moon, and I'll sing to the moon and I'll sing to the stars. Okay, I am not a poet, but I find myself doing it, and I am so delighted that I do that. It's like I see this beauty in the world that I've never seen before, and I bring that into myself, and I allow that to be part of the creative processes that are going on. I simply find that it's not just being creative at work or creative personally. You just are creative, and it flows through everything.
That just makes my heart happy, Jennifer. Like, okay, that's what I want everybody to have. That's just beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Jennifer Kelley.
I would say that I had a very clear intersection of courage and creativity recently, and it was creating this offering. I had a lot of resistance around recording myself, and fear and what my voice sounds like, and am I even somebody that could be doing this? Is this of worth to anyone? And once I did it, the next day or so, I was like, why was that so difficult? Oh, and there's all these things I want to record now. Like, all these things, like all this creativity bubbled up because this resistance I had around something was no longer there anymore, because I had done it. I was safe. I did the thing, and I was able to move on now. But I'm not just like moving on anymore. Now there's all this stuff bubbling up that I like can't wait to make now. And what's really great is I know that I can. I know that I can. I know it in my body now. And that's a huge shift for me. And it opens up all these things. So now this story that I've been telling my son since he was little, I'm like, why don't I just record myself saying that and create the images and animate it and put it on YouTube? Like, why haven't I done this yet? Or, like, here's this huge thing I've just gone through. I'm going to write this out and share this. I'm going to paint this out and now share this. All these experiences that are challenging that we're like working through, the courage to work through them and then share our struggle, all these new things come up from it. Like all the things we can create from it. It's endless. I'm like, so I have this long list of things now, these ideas. Like as soon as they come in, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write that down. Like, I can't wait to work on that now. And that's a huge change. And it's infinite. It's an infinite because we're showing up for our lives now and we're living them. And all of this that we're doing is just getting expressed out in all these new amazing ways I would never have imagined myself doing. I was hiding for many reasons, for very real reasons, for true safety reasons. And I finally just reached a point where I was like, I can't live my life like this. I can't keep doing this. I need to make a new direction here. And now I I mean now I'm excited to make a recording. And 2 weeks ago, I was terrified. It took me like 3 years to do this. So now I've got a whole list of things. And that's a major change that everyone's capable of. And within this support, this container, like we can keep encouraging each other and hearing these stories, and they just like fill you up with joy when you hear them. And it's like, oh, and as soon as you hear it, you shift a little. Like, and that's how we're all this field. So I really believe we are all these little orbs of energy, these fields, and we overlap sometimes. And just the presence, the thoughts of these other ladies, they start to shift your own thinking. And not in a they're pushing it on you, but you're resonating and taking from it what you need to then take that and go create something that's yours. And that is just so powerful. That's the power of community. I mean, oh.
So good. And it's true. I often say to people, you've done all these courses and all these trainings. Now it's time to integrate them all and name your work as yours, right? Because we can people get sometimes stuck in that. I need to learn one more thing. I need to learn one more thing. And so what you just described, Jennifer, is when I make the women go like you guys are on this InStory show as featured speakers, and you have a deadline and you have to create a free gift. First you have to go deep and really be authentic. But then us creative types, we really need a deadline. There's nothing like a real life thing that has to go out into the real world and you don't have a choice. You're gonna, even if it means after you do it, you wake up at 2 a.m, or as one of the first people did it with me after my interview, she's like, Devorah, I have no spit left in my mouth. It's like, or people will say, can we re-record it if it's not good? I'm always like, yes, we can. And then we never have to. But there is this sense that when you're doing a new thing and putting it out in the world, you don't have a track record. And so it is scary. You have to have a track record. And one of the things that makes a very big difference is I always say that we tend to carry the wrong audience around in our heads. Those people who went whap, 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 from our families, our work, our schools, whatever. But here in this world, what we're able to do now, even for the show, which is much bigger, the only people who sign up for it want to. The only people watching this want to. So suddenly you're bringing your vulnerable, creative, powerful gifts to people who want them. And that is a very big difference. And that is part of what I think you're all describing about how it rewires the old fears. And you go, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do in the world. This is how I'm making a difference. This is just as I feel better. This is going to help somebody I can reach to feel better and more whole in who they are. So it's so valuable and it's so healing for us as individuals. And it does make a difference in our world. And when you're spiritual and your soul is calling you, it's really, really a lovely experience to say yes to it. And so you guys are all models for each other, and our stories help us give each other that courage. All right, so we're going to wrap up. And so we'll go the other direction now. We'll start with Jennifer Kelley and then Jennifer Grossman and then Paula, but just leave us with a last thought. Just as we're going to wrap up, we're not going to do a new question, just a last thought. So Jennifer Kelley.
It's a blessing to be with so many wise and beautiful women and to share this journey that I have been on and this supportive container. And I'm grateful for that because as we lift each other up, we all really are rising together and really coming back to ourselves. And I'm very, very blessed, very blessed. So thank you.
I always say, if you get a little tears, you know you're speaking truth. And it's kind of our honor. One of the things that happens in the soul story course is at the 8th week, everybody tells a story. And oh my gosh, every time it's so moving, right? Because everyone starts going, I don't know if I'm going to have a story worth telling or reading. And then they're all just so moving. And someone will say, well, what if I cry? I say, it's okay, because we feel moved when you are moved. So thank you, Jennifer. All right, Jennifer Grossman.
All right. As Jennifer was speaking, the words, your voice, came through to me. And I thought it was very interesting for those that are wondering, is it worth it? Should I do this? I want to say to you, look, Paula, myself, and Jennifer, we have 3 different perspectives, 3 different voices, 3 different ways. But what we all have in common is finding our way. It's following our hearts, allowing our souls to sing. And if your soul is nudging you to take the next step, then Soul Story is perfect. InStory is even better. It doesn't matter. Just take the next step, because your voice does matter. Your voice needs to be heard. Your gifts need to be shared. It's what you bring into the world that the world so very much needs. So, again, if you're not sure, just
Oh, we have a freeze. Jennifer, we froze you into just exactly what everybody needs. And we'll bring her back in. And I always say with tech, I have a really good motto for tech issues, which is keep trying and keep your sense of humor, because there's just no such thing as perfect tech. There's always going to be some thing that's different than what you think. And so Jennifer is just getting her tech to come back in. So, all right, you made it back in. Now you have there. Okay, now you're back to just you. So you were going to just finish up your last thought there.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I think I really said what I wanted to say is listen to your heart, listen to your soul. If you do that, wow, that's all you need to do.
Yeah. And we're here to cheer you on. So you're not going to be in it alone.
That's right. You can't find a better group of women to explore, what's your soul saying than Soul Story or InStory. You really can't.
Yeah, it's amazing how we can find each other these days. It makes such a difference. Very meaningful, makes a big difference. So thank you, Jennifer. All right, Paula.
Thank you, Devorah. I hold a profound proudness for being in InStory and in leadership and with all the other ladies. And this is such a beautiful place and space to be. So my last words are, my tagline is live into your true creative, soul-spirited, divine, feminine nature. And if you take one step toward the light of spirit, spirit will take 5 steps on your behalf. So honor the divine, honor yourself, honor others, honor what you feel in your heart and soul, and honor your process, and honor your way home, and honor your life.
Mm.
Yeah, and here's a beautiful place to do it.
Thank you. Yes, people say, Devorah, what's the InStory way to do things? I say the InStory way is finally doing it your way. Right. And so I now finally, after years of only having a year program, I have the 8-week soul story course, and I have the year, and everyone is invited to schedule a soul story session. That's that time when you come and talk to me so that you can build your courage and connection, so that you can take a step to do what all of these wonderful women are modeling for you. And we will be back tomorrow with more. And so as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing.